Hi, my name is Garrett Van Ostrin, and today I'll be presenting my findings from interviewing two local entrepreneurs to the San Diego area and comparing them and their pathways to a couple entrepreneurs that I heard on the NPR How I Built This podcast. The two entrepreneurs I had the pleasure of sitting down and interviewing with this semester was Alex Johnson, the owner and founder of Alex Johnson Sports and Fitness, a gym local here in San Diego, and Mary Van Ostrin, owner and founder of Van Ostrin Wealth Management. Alex Johnson didn't grow up with any entrepreneurial influences, but had entrepreneurial tendencies. His motivation for sports and fitness first started from his dad, who was a coach when he was growing up. That led to him getting an education in kinesiology and psychology, which he ended up using to train in multiple people's gyms and also coach track and field. From there, he saw that there were a lot of injuries happening with kids who he was coaching and training that he knew were preventable. And so from there, he ended up getting the passion to start his own gym and go further into the field. And because he had already been training in other people's gyms and was actually managing some gyms at that, he had an easy transition, more or less, into starting his own business. The biggest challenges started coming later down the line as demand grew and his days as a personal trainer were becoming longer and longer. But he was inspired from his mother growing up, who was a nurse. He saw her working long days, helping out some really sick people, applied it to his own passion, and now he works 14, 15-hour days. For Mary, on the other hand, she also didn't grow up with much of an entrepreneurial influence on herself, but she had a lot of entrepreneurial tendencies. She knew she wanted to be in charge from an early age, actually telling her teacher when she was 9 years old that when she grew up, she wanted to be the boss. She ended up getting her education in finance. Out of college, she joined a large investment firm. As it would turn out, that isn't necessarily for her. After the firm, she went on to do some consulting on her own independently, in which she ended up liking the freedom and the independence that gave her, which inspired her to start her own firm. The biggest inspiration for starting this was being able to have more time for her family, have that independence to set her own hours, which early on came with a lot of challenges. She definitely felt a risk and pressure to make money right away. At the beginning of it, balancing the business between spending time with family, a difficult task to overcome, but she was able to overcome and persevere through that. Alex Johnson, without a doubt, started off his business as a social entrepreneur. He had a lifelong passion for fitness and for sports, so he decided to go in that avenue with his work. Then the inspiration to start the business ultimately came from his desire to make athletes better, to put people into college, to get some guys in the pros, which he now has. So I saw him starting as a social entrepreneur. As his business grew, more and more clients started coming in, which means he had the means to hire more trainers underneath him, which in turn would now give him some commercial entrepreneurship influences. So I say he still has a social entrepreneurship because it's still overall the passion that brings him into work every single day, but he has a little more commercial entrepreneurship tendencies with it now. For Mary, she started Van Ostrin Wealth Management with the primary goal of making enough profit to be able to spend more time with her family. So she started off as a commercial entrepreneur in the lifestyle/family sense. Then as she has transitioned and she's ended up making more money, she's been able to cut down some time on work, had a little more freedom and some more success to go along with it. She started to transition over into a social entrepreneurship type of sense. And a lot more of her concern she has noticed as she's gone along has been on the well-being of her clients and how much money her clients are making over what she is making. Now to move over to the podcast I listened to through NPR's How I Built This. First, the two founders of Sweet Greens, Nicholas Yamet and Jonathan Newman. Then I also listened to Tim Ferriss's podcast, which I call him a serial entrepreneur because he has started so many things, from starting with a supplement company. He became an author of the 4-Hour Work Week. He now has his own podcast. He's a serial entrepreneur in every sense of the word. Looking at Tim Ferriss compared to Alex Johnson and how they're living as entrepreneurs, it's honestly wildly different, where in one works to live and the other lives to work. What I mean by that, Tim works and sets up his work schedule so he can have a more full and experienced life around that, which, given the 4-hour work week, that's why he tries to be autonomous and do as little work as possible so he can enjoy his life around his work. Alex, however, has set up his work as something that he thoroughly enjoys doing and what he wants to be doing with his life. So he is living to work because his work is what he wants to be doing, and that's his passion. Now, looking at Tim Ferriss versus Mary Van Ostrand, they're very similar in the way that they have structured their entrepreneurships in a lifestyle entrepreneurship sort of sense. They both run their companies so that they can live their lives around that and have more flexibility and independence to do what they want. Now, I'd like to conclude this presentation in a similar way that I concluded my interviews. I asked the two entrepreneurs I interviewed for just what lesson they would give to someone who's just now starting their own business. What Alex Johnson told me was always pursue what you're passionate about. Don't worry about getting rich at first, because if you come in with that mindset, then you're not going to enjoy what you're doing down the line. What Mary Van Ostrand told me, on the other hand, is perseverance is huge in terms of having success. Don't easily give up on what you're passionate about. If it doesn't seem to be working, try a different path instead of just completely giving up on it. Now, a few takeaways and what I really connected with each entrepreneur. First of all, Alex Johnson, I connected with the passion that he has for his work and being able to mix what he enjoys doing in life with doing work and making money. That really inspired me. In terms of Mary Van Ostrand, it was the independence that she has and being able to set up her work around her life. Same with Tim Ferriss in a similar sense, and just being able to prioritize his usage of time and not spending time doing busy work, instead doing things that he loves to do. With the Sweet Greens, guys, it's the ambition they had, how they were shooting big from the beginning, and it ended up working out for them. So go ahead, shoot big, shoot for your dreams early, because you never know what'll happen. Thank you for listening. Thank you to Alex Johnson. Thank you to Mary Van Ostrand for sitting down and interviewing with me. Have a good day.